Hello, and welcome to the Kabumba podcast, the podcast that brings to you the relevant voices, stories, and opinions on the issues as well as solutions affecting you, me, and the African continent today and tomorrow.
I'd like to get people to get at each other, to talk to each other. It's a question of understanding each other, living in the same world.
You're in the middle of a fun debate about antiquity and great art. One of your hipster friends, who's half Greek and recently dyed his eyebrows fluffy peach, proudly points out the great influence of Greek mythology on pre-modern and modern art. You happen not to be Greek, and your eyebrows are dark drab brown, much like when you overfry groundnuts. You want to jump in and point out just how great and vast Zambian mythology and folklore is, and how important its impact has been on arts and culture today. But you can't, because you're unaware of its influence, and to be honest, you don't know much about it at all. Sound familiar? The feeling, that is. Because your friends are just not that cool. Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us. My name is Chanda.
And my name is Tabo. We are from Kabumba.
Kabumba is a Zambian creative-driven, co-creation, and multimedia platform designed for the continued collaboration and innovation of proficient persons, interested parties, and kindred spirits.
We pride ourselves on primarily pro-African narratives curated through various creative content and experiences.
This is the first episode in a series of podcasts proposing,
discussing,
scrutinizing,
and celebrating
the people,
issues,
ideas,
and transformations impacting the African continent today. Okay, so this is kind of like our christening, no?
Yeah.
Shall we do it?
I think so.
Let's do it.
See, no.
I think not. It's fine.
No. Okay, so a few quick ones. Today's episode is inspired by the Akantunse projects. In conjunction with our beloved partners, this will be Kabumba's debut project. The Akantunse project is a contemporary celebration and expression of 9 characters, figures, and narratives appearing throughout the history and assortment of African imagination. This includes resulting mythologies, folklore, and storytelling. Be sure to look out for more details on this exciting project during one of our quick ad breaks on the episode today. Additionally, you can check us out now on our Facebook by searching Kabumba, our Instagram by searching @KabumbaZM, or on our Twitter by searching @KabumbaZM.
So, what exactly are we talking about today, and who with?
Good question. Much like our disenfranchised friend at the beginning of the episode, you've probably previously felt a little frustrated at the lack of access to Black stories or seeing them represented in versatile and refreshing ways. This isn't to say that these stories or representations don't exist, but simply that they aren't shared or preserved enough. The Akantunse project hopes to help remedy this in its own fun, dynamic, and contemporary way. And in today's episode, we'll be expanding on the frustrations, successes, failures, solutions, and pride that were experienced throughout this project and can be anticipated for any solo or shared efforts in attempt to do the same at a personal or project level. As you can imagine, this should be very important to all of us. The task of aligning our past with the present for our collective future.
Exactly. But doing this isn't always straightforward or easy. It can be mentally and emotionally consuming. However, it's always joyous, rewarding, and most importantly, boom, liberating. So we got a few of our friends and colleagues, all of them creators and preservers of deliberately Black and African narratives, to help dive into this by answering a few questions about their experiences, their identity, and the landscape of sharing Black stories. First up, we have Ifeanyi Ibegbanum, aka Feko, a media professional, creative entrepreneur, and artist from Nigeria. We asked Feko what it means to him to be decolonized.
Decolonization basically is about raising indigenous voices and creating self-controlled media in the process of asserting indigenous beliefs, historical events about Africa, our cultural values as well. And apart from Black Panther, I think the other stories that we can tell from Africa, for example, Idonri Hills in southwestern Nigeria has a very rich history. The Benin Kingdom also has a very rich history. So imagine all the stories used as a script in Nollywood or Hollywood. The world will have a different perception about Africa. It's about telling our own story. It's about making our voices heard as Africans. We have to start now because Africa, the future is now. That means I'm even supposed to be answering this question in Pidgin. So therefore, I'm going to make a quick switch. So wetin I dey talk be say decolonization na to understand your culture, na to make the world know say Africa na number one. Africa no get competition. My name is Feko. Africa is the future.
Man, that pigeon though.
Oh shit.
Next up, we asked Professor Robin Marcus of George Washington University in the United States of America the following. What does being a Black creator mean to you? What opportunities for redefining and creating Black narratives exist in connecting Black creators on the continent and across the diaspora? Professor Robin Marcus is HBCU Howard University alumni, a literary pundit, and a strong advocate for Black ownership in Black storytelling.
This is Robin Marcus, and I would say that I was one before I knew I was one. I learned to read early and started turning words into pictures of poems early, too. I think I was in the first grade when I wrote my first poem, and had a very interesting line in it about being in a place called nowhere, and there's a line in it that reads, how to get there no one knows, which looking back means that I was thinking profound thoughts in the first grade. So being a Black creator / artist my whole life has given me a way of thinking about the world, of being or living in the world, of seeing the world, and a sense of how I can both participate and serve a purpose in the world. I am a mother and a writer. These two define me without apology or embellishment. These two things define me, and I guess you can't be more creative than living inside of those two spaces. I believe the arts can provide avenues or bridges that can connect us. The descendants of people who were stolen and the descendants of people left behind, that's who I'm talking about when I talk about us. The descendants of people who were stolen from western shores of Africa, removed violently from their homeland, and those of us across the diaspora because of that, as Baldwin called bitter season. I'm so here for that conversation. Since I've been teaching on university level, first at Howard and now at GW, I've been so privileged to have both Black kids and the kids of Africa in my classes, and every chance I get to encourage them to reach across their differences, quote unquote, and look at the similarities. So much is still shared. I take that chance, and the conversations and the collaborations can be virtual. When I read all of Buchi Emicheda's books, I think it was like 40 years ago, or today when I read Chimamanda's work, it's reparative. If you read Baldwin or Toni Morrison or any of our important literary artists, it helps heal wounds on your side of the Atlantic as well. Thank you for giving me the chance to respond and to participate in this conversation.
Fun fact, she understands when Professor Robin Marcus so hard, it's adorable.
Can you blame me though? You saw her in Vice! Plus, she's been so kind and giving of her knowledge and time throughout this process.
Calm down, but true. And now, Angela Chilufya, a UK-based, young and talented illustrator as well as ASCII graduate, talks about being taught enough about her history and cultural background.
I definitely don't remember being taught history in classrooms, and I certainly don't remember being taught history at home, and I'm going to put that down to the fact that I didn't really ask the questions that I was supposed to, but also I was very young, so I didn't really know the questions I was supposed to be asking in order for me to get the education that I wanted to get from my parents. The majority of my education has been in England, so the history that I have been taught is predominantly Western history. My friends in Zambia have told me that students aren't really being taught Zambian history to this day either, which, if true, I believe is a disservice to our people. When I began my bachelor's degree, I became very interested in where I came from and my history. So I took it upon myself to start teaching myself, because that's what you just have to start doing as you grow. It's things like this projects and creating platforms that would allow generations to engage with their history and maybe strive to learn more and ask the questions that we didn't get to when we're younger, for them to get the knowledge that they require, for them to know where they come from.
Thanks, Angela. Thomas Noppen, Danish editor-in-chief at Ogojii, a magazine that showcases cutting-edge trend-shifting and African innovation in design, enterprises, and current affairs, quickly speaks about how allies, interested parties, and non-Black people can healthily participate and aid in propagating Black, and more specifically, African narratives.
I believe the best way to support the spread of African narratives in areas such as design and architecture is by approaching the subjects editorially for what they are, which is stories about designers and architects who create products and solutions for where they are and what they need based on their own experiences.
Solid counsel from Thomas there. Kabelenga Phiri is a young, mass comm graduate, photographer, and creative entrepreneur from Zambia. He shares his thoughts on the recent Zambian independence celebrations and Black History Month, what times like this mean to him, and if they matter.
Hi, thanks for having me. This is KB, Kabelenga, Kwitu guy. I cannot really claim to know the euphoria when Dr. Kenneth Kaunda took the oath of office as Republican president, pledging to defend and protect the Constitution of a nation. Because I wasn't born yet, but I'll just reference to what's happening now. I feel it's taken lightly. There isn't any core value to independence and the celebrations because it's just a holiday. On 25th October, everything will go back. After the feast, students will return to the books. Markets will move on. When it comes to Black History Month, I think we need to celebrate it because it creates awareness for all our people. Celebrating provides an opportunity to highlight the best of Black culture because the month really gives detail from our perspective on our story, on our cultures, on how these came about, on our heroes. All too often it's more negative aspects about Africans being lazy, poverty rates, incarceration rates, ruly athletes, all these raunchy reality TV stars as paradigms, unfair stereotypes and assumptions from the culture that is, in some aspects, still learning to accept us. So we need our month to really bring out our heroes.
Provoking point of view there.
Yeah, for sure. Who do we have next?
That would be Kenzo, a Nigerian Tanzanian fashion blogger, model, and full-time flower child. We ask him who his favorite African figure of mythology, folklore, or cosmology is.
My current favorite West African mythological figure would have to be Orunmila, whose stories can be found in Yoruba folklore. Orunmila personified fate by blessing many Orishas with their divine powers while attempting to be fair in the process. I would say that he is my favorite because he transmits a sacred kind of energy which protects and guides self in the process of changing knowledge into wisdom.
Don't you just love how absolutely fabulous Kenzo is?
Fabulous, darling.
Fabulous. Next, we speak to the wonderful Mulenga Kapwepwe, board head of the Zambia National Arts Council, African cultural expert, playwright, filmmaker, and anthropologist. We ask her the following. Why is cultural preservation particularly important for African storytelling? And what does good cultural preservation look like?
Cultural preservation is particularly important for African storytelling because where else will you get the material to reference your storytelling? If you don't have the facts, if you don't have the phrases, if you don't have the dates, if you don't have any of those things, how would you tell your story? So culture is like the largest library, a living library that preserves our worldview, it preserves our history, it preserves the way we think and see the world. If we don't preserve it, we can't tell our stories, and we need to tell our stories. Good cultural preservation looks like an ecosystem because everybody has to be part of good cultural preservation. The government has to have the policies and the legislation and the budget to support cultural preservation. The citizens need to be actively participating in cultural preservation. And it starts from the household, what you tell your children. It goes to the schools and what we teach our children. It goes to universities and what we research. It goes to the museums and heritage institutions in how we preserve that culture. It's an ecosystem. It's all of us participating as preservers of culture.
Ecosystems, so key.
She summarized that so perfectly. Thank you so much, Ms. Kapwepwe, for your participation.
A quick ad break and we're back.
Disappears into cloud of fluffy peach smoke. Is that even a color?
No.
A vegan-friendly and trendy cafe as well as restaurant, the deli is ideal for all your brunching and hipster co-working. A bespoke, wellness-inspired menu, great food, and friendly staff, the deli also offers catering services to all your corporate and personal engagement needs. Using its spaces, networks, and other resources, the deli continues to support the art community in Zambia through various fun as well as purposeful programs and projects. Art pieces from young and local talent are often on display at each of their locations, so stop by between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. on weekdays, or 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. on weekends, grab something tasty as well as Insta-ready, and also buy some art. The deli is situated along Lunzwa Road, Park, and at Central Mall Kabelenga in Lusaka, Zambia. Contact them on +260-211-235-539 for reservations and inquiries, or follow them on Facebook and Instagram by simply searching The Deli Zambia today. Akantunse, a thing that was, is, and forever will be, a contemporary celebration and expression of 9 characters, figures, and narratives appearing throughout the history and assortment of African imagination. This includes resulting mythologies, folklore, and storytelling. A compilation of urban antiquity, contemporary, and Afro-fantasy aesthetics. A West, Northeast, Central, Southern African, and by extension, Caribbean-inspired effort. A visual, audio, and social experience including a digital photo series, various video, a concept extended play, an Akantunse project-inspired episode of the Kabumba podcast, and the Kabumba Social, Akantunse edition. Join us as we embark on this journey of celebration and regeneration. For more details, follow us on Facebook by searching Kabumba, Instagram by searching @KabumbaZM, or on Twitter by simply searching @KabumbaZM.
And we're back. We all know of Nollywood, but have you heard of Wakaliwood, Uganda's next big thing in homegrown cinema? We speak to Nabwana, the creator of this funny, action-packed, and popular genre. Drawing from your experiences building Wakaliwood, how can African storytellers constructively engage with Western interests? And also, Uganda for Kanye West or nah?
It is time. It is already time to work with everyone all over the world. And I believe that now we are in a global village. The mindset of our people in Africa is that they're always thinking that everything good should be done by white man. We need to change that. For me, I believe that we are all men. Like, for instance, in Wakaliwood, what I do is that I put white men in my movies to change the mindset of Ugandans who think that a white man is so superior. For me, I believe that a man is a man. We are all men. We don't have spirit. It is just maybe the talent that God gives you that makes you a little bit different from each other. I remember when someone saw one of my works, which I had done very well, and he said that the white man made a computer, and the white men are coming here to praise me for making great things with the computer. It is not, white man, it is a man. It is, talent. It's God who gives you the talent, no matter where you come from, no matter who you are. Kanye, I knew Kanye from the news, I think after days when he was here. So I don't think he has an impact in Uganda because he's here for tourism and not for culture. There's a difference here in Uganda between culture and tourism. If you ask me as an artist, I don't know what he does. I asked my wife, what does Kanye do? She told me that he's a musician. I think the impact he has is outside Uganda very much. It's a political impact. Or maybe, tourism. If he had come here as someone in music or something like that, he would fall under, culture, and he could be welcomed by musicians, artists like us, and he could meet us, and he's much into corporate, not the audience of Uganda. The peasants of Uganda did not even know that he or she came to Uganda. That is my point of view.
Interesting thoughts from Isaac there. Really though, we love you, Kanye, and wish you all the best. Samba Yonga is an established media expert and entrepreneur from Zambia, working with global and local brands. She's the founding and principal consultant at Kuatenga Media. Samba shares from her expert business development and media experience some of the observed challenges to and proposed solutions for a thriving Zambian and, in a wider sense, African business ecosystem for the creative industry.
My name is Samba Yonga, and I am the managing partner and founder at Kuatenga Media. We've run the business for about 13 years now, and over again, the thing that keeps coming back is a challenge and an opportunity. I see it that way. Two things. There's standardization and harnessing markets. Standardization in terms of creating standards of service, creating standards of pricing, creating standards of how a product should be delivered. In the creative industry, everything at the moment is converging. We're creating new ways of creating products. We're understanding what clients need, what markets need, and as a result, we are finding ways to create products. But the problem with this is that some products are of quality, some products are of low quality. We have to get to that point now where we standardize, we make a standard on how a quality product should be produced, whether it's a video, whether it's an audio, whether it's a graphic, whether it's a strategy, whether it's how we engage, whether it's the amount of money that is paid for it. That way it will enhance the industry and make it stronger. That goes hand in hand in creating a market. People will only buy a product that is of quality. A lot of the times people are having to consume mediocre products because there's no alternative. But if we push and decide to create quality products in whatever sphere you are, whether it's digital, whether it's graphics, whether it's writing, whether it's strategy, working with corporates, if you give a quality product, it doesn't matter the price. If it's a good price, if it's good quality, you will bring in a market that will want to buy your product. There will be a reduction in issues like people going to buy or get services from people outside of the country or products outside of the country, because we'll be creating the products of quality that the market needs. So it's understanding the market, harnessing it so that we create the products that are needed for the market, and then also extending it further and providing for the region, for the continent, for the world. It's no use creating a product with the kind of quality that only Zambians will consider, and even at that, they'll look at it askance. You have to think global. You have to think, will my product be able to stand on a global stage? And once we get to that point, then we'll be heading somewhere in the creative industry. Thank you.
Thank you, Samba.
Yes, great advice and pointers there. The ultimate scale is global, and if you create and plan for that, it doesn't just become possible, it's easier. We don't want our stories domesticated. They deserve to be celebrated and shared, valued, and influencing globally.
Super! Closing our Q&A off is Koketso Masuluke, a digital and content strategist based in South Africa. We ask Koketso how technology and the internet can help Black people reclaim their existing stories and tell new ones.
Hi everyone, my name is Koketso Masuluke and I'm a digital and content strategist based in South Africa. First things first, we need access. We need access to the internet. We need access to the technology that will help us reclaim our stories and tell new ones. For example, a simple thing is, do we have the resources? Do you have the microphone to record this podcast? Do you have the editing software? Do you have the laptop to download the editing software? Do you have the internet to help you download the editing software, to do the research, to find out how you can take the online course to say, how do I figure this out, Do you have the resources to actually contact somebody who's in South Africa when you're based in Zambia or Congo or Uganda or Ghana and say, hey guys, how can we collaborate? A person in Nigeria can collaborate with somebody in Botswana. And using the internet, we're able to do that and tell each other's stories and spread each other's stories and reclaim our stories. And like with regards to shared content. But if we don't have access to the internet, we're unable to do that. We're unable to tell each other's stories. We're unable to share the stories amongst one another and actually reclaim our own stories. And therefore, you'll find that people who have access to these resources, which is mostly the Western people, will then come and tell African stories from their point of view, from their perspective, and they will share our stories and they will own our stories. So the biggest thing in the how is access. And once we get access down packed, everything else will fall into place. I promise you.
So, ad break?
Ad break.
Having a hard time finding affordable quality and organic hair treatment products? Yes, us bro. We know. In a blend of natural ingredients including fruit, natural oils, and self-love, Zuchi hair products will soothe, seduce, and pamper your hair while replenishing its natural sheen and strength. Ultra-inclusive in catering to all hair types, Zuchi hair products encourages your uniqueness and reduces synthetic exposure. Products include Zuchi butters for softer and thicker hair, Zuchi cleansing bars, the shampoo alternative of your botanical dreams, for deep cleansing and conditioning, and Zuchi oils, great for rehydration and regeneration. Get yours in avocado and mafura, mango and cocoa butter, shea butter and coconut oil, or turmeric and honey. You can find them situated in Lusaka at 360 Deals behind Choppies in Woodlands, Katale Pharmacy in Chainama along Great East Road, in Duchete in Kabulonga along Sable Road, or Kamanga at Foxdale Court in Roma. Or find them in Kitwe at Didi Cosmetics at Link Park Mall. Get in touch today on +260 966 892 334 or +260 962 996 006. You can also follow them on Facebook or Instagram by simply searching Zuchi. That's Zucchi, Zuchi. Koketso there, bringing our Q&A segment to an optimistic close. Thank you so much to everyone that participated. You've all been so gracious and kind with your energy and time, sharing your thoughts and opinions on such an important topic.
Yes, thank you everyone. Look out for social media details of this episode's featured guests in the description box wherever you found this podcast.
Wherever you are, whatever you do, and with whoever you engage, remember that you are the narrative. Also remember that Black narratives are human narratives. Empathy, access, and collaboration are key. The stories we build, the styles and language used, can be used to either disrupt or evolve a culture, which then shapes the identities and destinies of a peoples. Make it good.
Thank you to our listeners for tuning in. Join us in another 4 weeks for another episode of the Kabumba podcast.
Don't forget to check us out on our Facebook by searching Kabumba, Twitter by searching @KabumbaZM, and Instagram by searching @KabumbaZM. Look out for all your updates on the Akantunse project, including a variety of content, live chats discussing the project, and details on the launch event.
From all of us here at Kabumba, Shale Pomkwai!